So I don't know, don't actually. Hold your breath.
Good morning. So we have a couple minutes before I actually get started, but I just wanted to reach out and let you know that we do have great experts again today. But also, Nicole is going around. If you haven't got a ticket for a drawing, let me know. Rick and I are taking our own advice in downsizing. And so in downsizing, part of it's decluttering. And I have a lot of books, like 5 or 6 of them on decluttering. So at the end, I'm going to do a drawing and hand out those books. Here's the thing, if you don't want the book, pass it on to someone, because everybody seems to want to know about decluttering, right? And I don't want you hanging on to it forever, because let things go. It's like, and one of the things I'm finding for myself as far as decluttering, when I first started doing it, it was hard. And now it's getting easier and easier. And it's like, okay, who wants this? Okay, I'm gonna donate it. So anyway, it's becoming kind of fun. It's kind of feels like I'm lightening the load. So, all right, so we got like 30 seconds. One of the things that was brought up is last week, originally I was going to do a topic on the 5 senses. And so some of you may have showed up hoping that was going to be it. And I changed it because I didn't have anyone that could speak on it. And guess what? Today I met someone that speaks on that. So it might be something that I do for next year. So those of you that were here last time, thank you for filling out the backside that gave me ideas of what kind of topics are important to you. Okay, so it's 10 o'clock, and who's here new? Oh, go ahead and pass those out, Chris. So Chris is going to be passing out flyers, okay, that go kind of on the back. Harriet's going to be using that when she's talking, so, okay. All right, go ahead and go to the, I was telling you about, I apologize about the seminar mix-up, and thank you for giving me your ideas for topics. And feel free, if I was just talking to someone who said they'd like to have a CPA. So if there's topics that you'd like, write them on the yellow page, and we try to fit that in the ones that are most important to people. And I was going to tell you something else I can't remember, so we'll just start. Next slide. So why did we decide to do this seminar series? A lot of you know that we're realtors. The city of Encinitas doesn't put us on, we do. We work with seniors, and the needs of seniors are different. And as we were working with seniors, we realized how little there was as far as education for seniors. So Rick and I took on putting on this seminar. And I came across that saying, aging isn't just about living longer, it's about living smarter, healthier, and stronger with a smile. And I think the more we learn, the better our lives can be. You know, we explore options. See the next slide. So as we learn things, we learn that there's often things that we didn't even have a clue about. I'm finding that a lot for myself. I'm really an options girl, and so I like to know what my options are. But there's so many things I don't know. And so I'm hoping that's why I'm bringing this seminar to you guys, that there will be things that you learn. And in learning, sometimes we don't want to change. You know, we're kind of set in our ways, and we want to do things this way. But as you're listening today, and in life as a whole, be open to that change. Because when we make changes in our life, that's when the doors open to possibilities you didn't even know were there. So as I'm going to be turning 70, and I realize that I get set in a rut, you know, and do things over and over. But if we change our routine and do things and add things that we didn't do, it could improve our lives. So be open to that. Next slide. Okay, so I'm glad that this came up because I have to do the same thing. I have this on in case I got a call. So let's take our phones, put it on silent. And if it vibrates and you need to take the call, please step outside. Please don't make your call, you know, answer it in here. You know, just say, I'll be right with you. Walk outside so that you're not disrupting your neighbor, okay? Also, if you need to use the restroom, go out through this back, and out in the halls, there's a fish tank, and to the right is where the bathrooms are. So please, if you need to use them, if you need to get up and stretch your legs, no matter what you need to do, just go ahead and do that. Next slide. All right, so Brad, raise your hand. So Brad in the back is with Village Encinitas, and I am proud to be on the board of directors of Village Encinitas. It's such a wonderful organization. It's all about neighbors helping neighbors, seniors helping other seniors. Say that you are having surgery and you can't walk your dog or take the trash out. With this organization, you sign up for a year at a time and keep renewing it, which people are, because there's so many benefits. You have a need, you can reach out to them. They even have little handyman service things for seniors. So if you join Village Encinitas and you have a service that you can do to help people, you let the Village Encinitas know what that is. Or if you have a need, then you reach out to them. So Village Encinitas is taking on doing education seminars. And next Monday, Jonathan Schwartz, who has spoke here before, he's a wonderful speaker, he's going to do a seminar on laughter as medicine and how laughter makes us all happier and healthier. And so if that sounds like something that you'd like to go see Brad in the back, or if you want to learn more about Village Encinitas, go see Brad. Next slide. So Nicole, come on up, Nicole, quick. So she is starting kind of a social support group, all kinds of things. I'll let her tell you about it.
All right, thank you guys. So my name is Nicole Soares. I'm an end-of-life specialist, and I created with my partner Elaine back there a new group we're meeting at Seaside Center for Spiritual Living. And a couple weeks ago, for those of you who attended, we came up with a mission statement and we came up with a group name, and it is called Soulful Sages. And we're really grateful to be partnering with Christy, because every time she has this big, large educational event, we're taking it, and within about a week or two after her event, we're creating a very similar, taking that subject and then really making it around social interaction, making it fun. We will have food and activities, but really the way that I like to think of this group is Elaine is a beautiful holistic cooking coach. She's anything I would call or classify under intentional living. And for me, I'm really focused on conscious dying, anything around end of life and how do we get prepared because it is gonna happen eventually, even for me. I'm still resisting it, but I know it's coming. I know it's coming. But I did want to read the mission statement, and it is Soulful Sages empowers seniors and their loved ones, which includes caregivers, to live fully now and plan for the final chapter with connection and joy. So if you want to join us, we have sign up back there. We're almost at 100 members now, and we will be meeting a couple times around town. At the YMCA is hosting us for some of our smaller workshops, and then Seaside Center for Spiritual Living. And if you guys have other venues that we can do cooking classes or educations or workshops, let me know. I'd appreciate your help.
Thanks, Nicole. So I went to her first one last month, and it was awesome, and there's some wonderful seniors, and it's a great way to get out there and meet new people. Next slide. All right, Karen. Karen is with the Senior Citizen Commission. She's a wonderful commissioner. She's gotten a lot of things started, and she has a great deal of patience because I can't do political stuff.
No, we don't want to do political stuff. Hi, happy day after Labor Day. Everybody done with the summer, or are you just starting like I am? Anyway, we have lots of things going on. This is your opportunity to really tell us what you think. How many of you filled out the survey? Yay. All right, now you get to talk to us. We'll be having 4 of them. The first one will be here on the 30th. Next one will be October 8th in Aligo and Haney if you live there. The next one will be at the library, and then Fox Point Farm. So if you haven't scanned to make your reservation, I tried to make it easy. You can just put your name and information down here and we'll give you a call. So I want to just add 2 things. We are coming back because of summer. Mingle and create, opportunity for us to be artistic endeavor, and most of all, meet people, because that's what we're here to do. Besides get smarter, it's all about, as Nicole said, it's all about community. And I don't know if you're aware that September is Hunger Awareness Month. 1 in 4 of our people are food insecure. So this is a cool part, is CRC is partnering with a whole bunch of our friends, Rubio's, Panera, Kebab, and you can go there, get something to eat, and they'll donate back. And then just one more thing I want you to be aware of. The Senior Commission meets the 2nd or 3rd, depending upon month at 2 o'clock. This is your chance to stand up and tell us what you want to see. And it's really important that we know what you want, because again, we have a voice and we need to use it. So have any questions, let me know. Just remember, we're here to serve you and not political. We're not going down that today.
Karen, that sign-up sheet, do you want to pass that around or have it up here at the front table?
Sure.
Whatever, however it works. Okay, next slide. All right, so it's time for me to have our panel come up. And what I'm gonna do is have them come up and then have them each introduce themselves. I told them they had to come up in order. All right, so Karen, you're gonna go ahead and start, and go ahead and then tell them who you are.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Excellent. My name is Karen Leventhal, and I'm the proud owner of Seniors Choice. We're a general contracting company that specializes in aging in place remodeling, and I'm a safety specialist. So I'm all about keeping you safe in your home. For the most part, when I ask people, I'd say, who wants to live in a nursing home when they grow up? Anybody? That's the response I get. And so what I'm really dedicated to is helping people stay safe in their house. There are so many different places in the house that could be dangerous, and people don't realize that as we get older, well, you realize this part, as we get older, right, we have more aches and pains, more problems physically, sometimes mentally, and our house ages, but not in the way our body does. And I'm really committed to helping people's house match where their body is. And that's a big disconnect sometimes. And people feel that I never had this problem before, but you weren't 80 before, so it makes a difference. So, again, that's me, I'm Karen, and I'm excited to be here. Are you gonna ask me what? Oh, sorry.
Hi everyone, I'm Lauren Reynolds with At Home Nursing Care. I'm the owner and the administrator, and yesterday was our 15-year anniversary. So thank you, time flies, as you all know. So I got into in-home care because my mother had care for 10 months. And so I experienced that, and I quit my job at Channel 10, where I had been a news reporter for 15 years, and started my own company. So this is my first time being here today, and I look forward to talking with all of you. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Sherry Singleton. I am the daughter of a wonderful woman who now has dementia, which is one of the reasons I got into this industry after being in hospitality for almost 30 years. So I've been on the senior living community side as marketing director, operations, and then started my company, Live Well Senior Care Connections, about a year and a half ago. And I just offer a free service to help families, guide them through all the different senior living options. And not to dispute what Karen said, but it's not staying in your home or going into a nursing home. There are some wonderful options, which I'll be talking about, that there weren't even 20 years ago. So I'm excited to share that with you. And again, it's Sherry Singleton, Live Well Senior Care Connections. And thank you, Christy, for letting me come up on stage.
Hi, I'm Harriet Priovalis. I am the realtor on the panel today. I worked in corporate America for many, many years, worked at General Dynamics for quite a while. Maybe some of you, since half of San Diego, worked there for a while. And then about 20 years ago, I joined Christy and Rick as their assistant, and loved real estate so much I ended up getting my license. So I've had my license now for 13 years, and whether I am helping first-time home buyers buy their, their home of their dreams, or helping people downsize, I love real estate, and I'm happy to help the people find their next spot in life. So thank you.
Okay,
Sorry,
that's okay.
just the water.
So I don't know if I told you guys you each have water under here. Okay, so Karen, what is a home safety evaluation, and why is it such an important first step for someone who wants to age in place?
Sure, next slide, please. Where am I looking? Thank you. Okay. No. Well, does this remind you of anyone you know? Everything is fine, right? Everything is totally fine. There's no reason to do anything. Things are the way it was, and it's just fine. Well, sometimes in life, things are not just fine, and blank happens, right? Things happen. And the importance of a home safety evaluation is to do a checkup on your house. There's things that a safety evaluation is gonna do. It's gonna, as soon as you walk in the door, we're looking at different things in your home, whether it's stairs, whether it's the threshold height, the height between your front step or your front porch or entryway into your house or into your living room, all the threshold changes. We're looking at doorway widths. We're looking at your water heater. Is it set at the safe temperature for you? Is there enough lighting in your house? So we're looking at a whole house, and it's basically a checkup of your house. And it really makes a difference in getting ahead of these things instead of waiting till there's a problem. And that's a big theme with what I really believe in, is it's way easier to be proactive instead of reactive. So one part I want to mention for our home safety is I look at systems you have in place that in case there's an emergency. And one of them is called the Vial of Life. And I have them on my table, so I can tell you more about them, but basically, it's in case of an emergency, 911 knows where to get your Vial of Life, which it'll be on the refrigerator, and it'll have all the pertinent information they need, whether it's medications, whether you wear glasses or hearing aids, and who to call in case of an emergency. So this is a free pamphlet, and you put the sticker on your door. There's a sticker over there, and that really helps the EMTs know where to go and what to do for you.
Thanks, Karen.
That's a great gift to give people.
Thanks. So what are some simple or affordable updates that can make a big difference? And what are some larger projects that make a big impact?
Next slide, please. All right. Oh, I didn't even talk about that in my last question. Okay, next slide. That's fine. Okay. Oh, next slide. Gosh, I talked really quick. That's usually not how I go. Okay, just stay there in that space. Okay, so the question was small items and versus larger items. So small things you could do yourself, right? You could take your throw rugs and you could throw them away, or you could take them down with some rug tape you buy at Home Depot or Lowe's or Amazon or wherever. You could add night lights, little plug-in ones. They have magnetic ones. I have ones that I put in my house that are USB rechargeable. And they are, I have them in my kitchen where there's magnets that attach to the underneath of my countertop. When I walk in my kitchen, the lights are automatically gonna come on, so I won't trip and fall in my kitchen. So there's so many little things you could do to make it safe. And then there are like even installing grab bars. It might sound overwhelming to you, like, oh my gosh, I have to install a grab bar? That means I'm old. What it means is that you're safe. And if you look at hotels and things like that these days, there are grab bars everywhere. And there are pretty grab bars out there now. So even having a grab bar installed by a professional who knows where to put them and how to install them could really make a difference in your safety. The other thing to think about is, so we talked about lighting, flooring, that's another one. So someone was telling me a story, I don't know where he's, I think it was you, about wood flooring and it could be slippery, right? So then it's a matter of modifying either your shoes or your floor. So you could put anti-slip coating on your floor if it's available, or you can wear better shoes in the house, have house shoes that have a good grip on them, so to prevent falling. So those are, again, minor things you could do. Major things, you could do a whole bathroom remodel, right? You can have that walk-in shower or a walk-in tub if you like to take a bath. You can have that, like the walk-in shower means that there's no threshold change. You just walk from here to here and you're in your shower. No elevation changes, and it's really safe that way. You could, when you do a remodel like that, you want to think about the door widths. That's always something to think about. Putting a little simple fix is your door handles are easier with a handle versus a knob. Knobs are very hard, especially if you have arthritis or any other hand issues. It makes it much easier if it's a lever, because you can even use your elbow if you need to. I know for myself, I had an arthritis flare up and I couldn't open the doorknob. I had to put a towel on it to make it fatter so that I could easily open the doorknob. So that's a simple fix. So we talked about lighting, grab bars, showers. So I mean, there's a whole bunch of things. Some of them are very common sense if you're aware of it, and some of them are more major that people just don't know that there's options out there. And I'm sure you guys can all agree, you don't know what you don't know. That's why it's important to have someone come in with an extra set of eyes to look at the house and really come up with some suggestions. I once had this lady that had me, I live in Oceanside, she had me go all the way to Mira Mesa, and she said, I just need you to look at my house and come up with things. She goes, my mom, she constantly hits her left hip, it's constantly bruised. And I said, oh. She goes, she hits that side table over here. I said, why don't we either remove the side table, or why don't we turn it the other direction? They're like, oh my God, you're brilliant. And I don't think I'm brilliant because of that, but I mean, definitely there's little things you could do to make it safer. And people just, again, you're used to living in your house, you're used to the way things are, so you're used to, that's where it goes. But there's just little tweaks you can do. Another one that's real simple, I had this client and it was a husband and wife. The wife had back issues and she was sort of hunched over and used a walker, and the husband didn't have back issues. And she said, I have a really hard time reaching in my closet. And it was 2 poles. And I said, oh, where's your stuff? And she said, the top pole. And I said, why don't you switch with your husband? And she goes, oh my gosh, again, you're brilliant. And so it's good for my ego, but I mean, really, you just don't think about it. There's the simple little fixes can make it that much safer. So that's where I come in, to open up your eyes a little bit and see it differently. Because you're used to it, that's the way it is.
So Karen?
What advice do you have for those who want to remain in their homes but are worried about the cost of remodeling?
Well, the one thing is, you don't have to do everything at once, right? You can make a plan, create a blueprint for your plan for aging in place, and come up with a schedule of when you're gonna do certain things. Come up with the things that are priority or urgent, and then from there decide what you can wait on doing. So for example, a grab bar is pretty urgent, I would say, and throw rugs, those are more urgent than widening a door. Unless you're in a wheelchair and you can't get through the door, then that's more urgent than not, right? So it just depends on the individual and what's going on with your own health and wellness. So that makes a big difference. The other thing I would say is that you have a lot to lose if you don't do these things. Next slide, please. First thing you're gonna lose is time, right? Imagine that you don't make these small changes and something does happen. You fall, you break your hip, you have to go to the hospital, you have to have the emergency room, surgery, maybe go to rehab, go home, have home care, have physical therapy. It could change your whole entire trajectory, right? And I mean, I'm not trying to jinx anybody, this is just the reality of the situation. And so those are the types of things you don't think about, that if you don't do these modifications, you are gonna lose time. You're gonna lose your independence. Next slide. Your relationship with your loved one changes. So say you have a spouse or your daughter or son are gonna come and help you. Well, now their role as your spouse or your daughter or son or whoever the family member is now a caregiver. And that adds a lot of stress to any relationship, no matter how good it is. And if it's not a good relationship, wow, that's really not good, but it really makes it worse. So it's really important to, again, think about your relationship with your loved ones. And that's why it's important to know what your options are and maybe hire caregiving. But, okay, next slide. And money. You're gonna lose your money, right? If you don't make changes and something happens, whether you have amazing insurance and Medicare is gonna pay for everything, they're not. You're gonna have other equipment you're gonna need after the surgery. You're gonna need rehab. You're gonna have co-pays. There's things you're gonna have, and it's gonna cost you more money in the long run. If you make the decision that I'm gonna be proactive instead of reactive, it's really gonna cost you a lot less money. And everyone, I think, wants to save money, right? Nobody's looking to spend extra money because we have it and we just want to throw it away. We want to save it as much as we can, and that's one of the ways of doing it.
Karen,
Have you ever had people do like a reverse mortgage and use that money? Because now they have like an equity line. Where
Yes.
You don't have to get a lot.
Yes, absolutely. You can definitely use a reverse mortgage finances to do some modifications. You also, if you have a long-term care insurance policy, some policies, but there's not that many, they have a little clause that says for home modifications you get X number of dollars. It's not that common, but it does exist.
Right. So how do you help homeowners create spaces that are both functional for aging in place and still beautiful?
Sure. Well, nobody, like we said earlier, nobody wants to live in a nursing home, and they don't want their house to look like one either. So it's really important on the materials you choose for the remodel. So for example, flooring is a huge one. So if we're doing a remodel, you don't want to pick tile. It's beautiful, but it is super hard when you fall on it. So they have great luxury vinyl products now, like luxury vinyl tiles or luxury vinyl plank that are much softer. So if you do fall on it, it cushions the blow a little bit. Or when you're doing your countertops, you don't want to have very strong points, you want to have rounded edges. So there's all these different little nuances that you wouldn't think of, and most contractors or designers don't think about these things because it's not in their wheelhouse, it's not at the top of their mind. But if you work with somebody who does this regularly, who remembers the practices of universal design, meaning that people of all ages can live in this space, whether they're 3 or 103, then that's really what you want to do when you're doing a remodel. all too often I've seen people do things that like don't make a lot of sense, right? So for example, you remodel your bathroom and you don't put any lights above the shower. Well, it's really dark in the bathroom a lot of times, and the more light you get, the better off you are. So yeah. They're sitting up here, interesting. So you really want to think about those things. The more light you have, and there's different types of lighting. There's task lighting, so like I said, in my kitchen, I put lights underneath my cabinets so that I could, number one, it's a night light, but also when I'm doing some specific tasks, I have better view, a better way of cutting my whatever cucumbers or whatever I'm doing, I have a better view of it. So lighting is a huge part when you're doing something big to think about.
So,
One last question.
Sure.
So what if somebody has a two-story and they really do want to stay where they are?
Sure.
We all know about the stair lifts and
There's
stuff.
stair
and
lifts.
Can you like share how it does work and?
Sure.
And is that something you do?
It's not something I do, but I partner with a company or a few companies that do them, and I know enough to be dangerous about them. So with a stair lift, number one, they measure the width of your stairs, and if there's like and you need electricity at the top or the bottom of the stair, that I know for sure. If it's a straight stair lift, they're much more simple, and you can usually get them easier and quicker. But again, this is not like Mom fell down the stairs and I need to put a stair lift in tomorrow. It doesn't work that way. It's something you have to really plan. A straight stair lift is easier to plan because it's a lot easier, and a lot of the companies have them in stock, so to speak. And there's many different options and companies that put in stair lifts and different brands of stair lifts. So it depends on what you're looking for in your stair lift. The other thing is elevators is a hot topic. And the thing I could caution you about elevators is a couple of things. One is they're more expensive than you would think. They're just expensive. And your house has to be stacked in a way that you could get in one spot. Think about an elevator. You go in one spot and you just go vertically up and then get out of the elevator. It's the same thing if you put an elevator in your house. If you want to go up, you have to make sure there's a space when you get up there, that there's a space to get out of the elevator. So if your house has stairs and it's staggered, it just won't work. And I've been in houses like physically it just won't work. So they're not for everybody. And then I had a client who swore that was the best solution and had this idea of putting an external elevator, which is a great idea. However, again, the price then just magnifies, because then you need permitting from the city. You're damaging, so to speak, your outside stucco or siding or whatever it is. So it's a more involved process. So again, if you have straight stairs, easier. If you have a curved stair lift, then it's a whole entire specialized camera system that the stair lift companies take to map out your stairs and make it a custom solution, and that takes, I would say, at least 2 months, but I want to say more than that, honestly. And it's an expensive solution. Stair lifts, from the last time I checked, and I don't do them like I said, a regular straight stair lift could be maybe $5,000, maybe more, and a custom solution's at least $20,000. So things to think about is put away some money. If you plan on staying in your house, create a fund, create a budget that you're gonna save this money and start slowly making changes in your house. Again, it doesn't have to be done all at one time and like, okay, I'm renovating the whole entire house, I'm leaving for 6 months and I come back and the house is all done. You don't need to do all that. Just make a plan and just do it slowly. But at least have that plan in place. That's the most important thing I could leave with you.
Thanks, Karen.
You're welcome.
Rick and I were at a client's house that they had a garage, and then you had to go upstairs no matter where you went.
Yeah.
But to do groceries, and they had this small elevator. And it
Yeah.
was awesome. They could load up the elevator and send it up.
Yeah.
And it made their life so much
Like a
easier.
dumbwaiter. Yeah.
Okay, on to Lauren. So Lauren, what kind of services do you provide for people who want to stay in their home?
Next slide, please. So we are a licensed home care organization and home health agency.
Right.
Not that slide.
Next slide.
Next slide.
Next slide. Sorry.
Oh, that's me. So hello, I've already introduced myself. So I'm Lauren Reynolds with At Home Nursing Care, and then the next slide, please. Perfect. Okay, so we are licensed. We're dual licensed, and we offer services all throughout San Diego County and also the West Side, South Bay areas of Los Angeles, mainly because that's where I grew up. But I've been in San Diego since I went to college here at UCSD. So we offer companion care, private duty nursing, that's when you need an RN or an LVN to do something like medication administration or a G-tube or a J-tube, basically tube feeding. Then we also offer something called care management, and that is where it's almost like hiring a part-time specialist who's your daughter. So somebody who's dedicated to you and helps you navigate the VA system, helps you navigate your medications, your prescriptions, as needed. So you might only need the care manager 1 hour a month, but people find that very helpful. And then we do Medicare Home Health. What's different about our agency is that we are an RN-led agency, and that means a nurse comes and creates an individualized service plan with the client, with the family, and that's how our employees know what to do when they get to the house. And it's based on the client's needs, strengths, and wants.
So what's the difference between non-medical home care and home health?
Okay, next slide, please. So non-medical in-home care is basically a non-skilled service. So you're using a home care aide, they're called personal care attendants, they're called lots of caregiver, lots of different things, and they're gonna help with your activities of daily living, bathing, dressing, medication reminders, toileting, ambulation transfers, and for somebody with dementia, constant safety monitoring is necessary a lot. And then they do the incidentals as well. So they might run errands for you. They might pick up your prescriptions for you, provide transportation to and from the doctor's office, take you to social events. I had a client here, he was wonderful. His name was Lauren. He said he hired me because I was $1 cheaper than the other agency. He celebrated his 100th birthday right here at the Encinitas Senior Center, and that's where I met him, actually. And all he needed was a ride to here. And he said, you know, my head is fine, everything's fine, but my doctor says my legs don't work anymore. And I have my license for 2 more years, but she said I can't drive anymore. So that's why he hired us, and that's what we did for him. And then we ended up taking care of him for about 6 years until he passed away, because obviously his needs grew. He lived to almost 103. And his final words was to our caregiver, and he said, thank you.
Wow.
So anyway, he's on my website. I got a video with him because I said, Lauren, I need a testimonial. And he's like 102 at this point. He goes, well, you better hurry up and do it. Okay, so home health, next slide. For non-medical in-home care, you do not need a doctor's order. For home health, you do. And sometimes people kind of mix it all up. For home health, it's intermittent, meaning they have these episodes and they're between 30 and 60 days. You're gonna get, you can get nursing care. Maybe you need help with your medications, maybe you need some training about your new diabetes diagnosis or Parkinson's diagnosis. That's what a nurse can do. It's physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech therapy. There has to be a medical need. There's also a home health aid benefit, but you have to need the nursing or the physical therapy in order to get the home health aid, and it has to be signed by a doctor, so your doctor has to agree to it. It is a requirement that you be homebound. So homebound doesn't mean you never leave your house. It just means it takes taxing effort. You're probably not driving yourself. Somebody needs to help you get into the car, out of the car. It's okay if you're going to your doctor's appointments. It's okay if you're going to church. That doesn't mean you're not homebound, but we as a Medicare home health provider have to click these boxes to make sure that you qualify. And the visits are only like an hour. So you're not gonna get like an all-day shift care from Medicare home health. There's no copay with home health, and people kind of wonder about that too, like what's the copay, but there is no copay yet. We'll see what happens with that.
How are in-home care services paid for? Can insurance or Medicare help?
And next slide, please. So because yesterday was my 15-year anniversary, I went back and I looked at what were we charging at the time and what was the minimum wage at the time. And I think our rates were $18 an hour. And minimum wage was $9. And in 15 years, the medical minimum wage now is $21 an hour, and our rates are 42 to 44. So it just shows you just the inflationary effect. And so a lot of, and that's also workers' comp and all the different, the required health insurance, everything's gotten more expensive, as our lives have just gotten more expensive. I always say I'm gonna be able to retire 5 years after I'm dead, right? So people generally pay from their private savings, from their funds. I've had a couple occasions where a very successful businessman who was in Hong Kong, he couldn't help his parents, but he paid for the care. He could. Some people use reverse mortgages, and then people also use long-term care insurance, and that 40% of our clients actually have long-term care insurance, and that makes sense in a way because they have financial help in paying for it, they access it, and they access it earlier. There are 60,000 approved long-term care claims every year. It's a number that's growing. And long-term care insurance, it's not your commercial health insurance, and it's not Medicare. It's policies that people buy. I think the average age of purchasing them is about 55 years old. And it's like Northwestern Mutual, Bankers, CalPERS. They're triggered by needing help with an activity of daily living. Or if you have dementia, you can trigger it just by needing constant safety monitoring. So we have a client right now, she's a woman, she and her husband are only 65 years old. He retired, and then she was diagnosed with dementia. And it's a very severe case in terms of her memory, but she's physically fine. There's nothing wrong with her, and she physically, except for the dementia. So she has a caregiver who literally comes to the house to give the husband a break, to take the wife on long walks, just to tire her out. So that's another way. And then we mark constant safety monitoring on every chart, and that's how we make sure that that long-term care insurance is paid. There's only a 20% success rate when people try to open a claim for the very first time on their own. But there's a 95% success rate when people use a professional, like an agency that knows what they're doing with long-term care, or even their long-term care insurance broker helping them open the claim.
So what are some red flags or other important points to consider?
And next slide. So, oh, I'm so sorry. This is an important one. How many veterans are in the room? Okay, first of all, thank you for your service. A lot of veterans don't realize, many of you have heard of the Aid in Attendance program, and that is based on income. And so a lot of veterans who work their whole lives, have a pension, have a house, they just don't qualify. But if you do, that's the monthly rate that you get, and then you use that amount to pay for care. But there's a program called the Homemaker Home Health Aid Program. It's run through the VA Community Care Network. It is not income-based. So you can have a home, you can have assets, and you can still qualify for this care. So I had a friend who was not my client initially, but he was diagnosed with ALS. And he lives in Rancho Santa Fe. They're wealthy people. His wife was a big tech person. And I said, are you signed up for veterans benefits? Because he was a Marine. And he said no, but he couldn't even hold a pencil. You know, ALS is terrible. So I helped him fill out the application for VA benefits. I drove it down to the VA. They were so responsive. He got care within about 5 days, paid for by the VA. Started off with like the average is 11 hours a week, and then ended up being 50 hours a week for him. No charge to the family. The VA pays the agency. So again, it's this program that's amazing and people don't know about it. So I try to tell people every time I'm in a room with veterans, like, just remember you earned this and you don't have to be poor to access it, along with a lot of the other programs. Okay, so sorry, next slide.
So Lauren,
Yeah.
so will they continue to pay it forever, or is there like a cutoff on it?
There's no limit in terms of how long you can access the care. You have to need the help. So let's say a veteran has a fall and he needs care while he's recovering. Once he's recovered, they're gonna pull the care, you know, but if he has an ongoing neurological issue or dementia issue, my friend had care till he passed away. And he eventually was actually moved into a specialty nursing home because it was ALS, and the VA paid for everything. So that benefit has been growing because of the inflation. Medi-Cal in California pays for almost nothing. It's terrible. You can't even take those patients anymore because the cost per patient, I'm reimbursed like $5 less than it costs me, but the VA is as high as market rates. So it's a really great program, so you can find care.
So again, before you go to the next question, say that they have to have physical therapy and they're given the physical therapy exercises. A lot of times people have a hard time doing that. Is that one of the things that they can hire your company?
Absolutely, absolutely. So what we like to do is we like to have our personal care attendant there while the physical therapist is there. So the caregiver is learning what they're supposed to be doing as well, and then they're not physical therapists, but they can remind the client, this is what we need to do today, we need to do it for 25 minutes in the morning, 25 minutes in the evening, and that's very helpful, and people do improve with that kind of help.
I would imagine so. Okay, so now we could go on to the next one about the red flags and other important points to consider.
Okay, so next. Okay, here's just other ways to pay for in-home care. So anyway, because people say, well, I can't afford care. And for very, very low-income people, there are services. So there's IHSS. There are nonprofits that we refer people to, like Elder Help. There was something else. I want to say one thing. There's a really good new program called the GUIDE program. It's run through Medicare. You have to have traditional Medicare. That GUIDE program offers care management. So for example, we're partnered with a neurology center here in San Diego, and they have about 6,000 patients. About 400 are qualifying for the GUIDE program. So as part of that program, they get a nominal amount. It's not a lot, but you get maybe 50 hours a year of free in-home care. But it has to be traditional Medicare, not Medicare Advantage.
Does the neurology center have to be the company that
No,
refers you?
that's just the one I know because we partnered with them, but there are lots of different partners and you can actually find them. Medicare is a bit cumbersome going online, but you can find it online, all of the participants.
Okay.
Okay,
All
so the
right.
red
So that's
flags.
called the GUIDE program.
The GUIDE program, it's
So
brand
that's
new.
okay, yeah,
It just
okay.
started in July.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, right, okay, so now the red flags. So I always like to tell people, next slide. Yeah, there, I mentioned it, okay, next slide. If you hire an agency, just make sure that they're licensed. They have a home health license or a home care license, both can provide caregivers, but you do wanna check on their license. You wanna make sure they are a full service W-2 employee because caregivers are never independent contractors. We are in California, it is absolutely illegal. So you cannot just pay a caregiver writing a check. You cannot call them an independent contractor if you let them go or even the client dies and they file for unemployment. It starts a whole litany of claims, and I've seen it. We took care of a really nice lady 3 days a week for like 3 years, and then she had a private caregiver 4 days a week. And when the aunt died, we walked away. We thank you. We put our caregivers on a new case, and that private caregiver sued the niece. So it does happen. It is very illegal. You also don't want to ever give access to a bank account. So don't use a caregiver to be a bookkeeper. You can hire a bookkeeper, you can hire a fiduciary, there are lots of bill pay services that are out there, but you really wanna keep your financial information separate because that is really where, thank goodness not my agency, but that's where we see in our community the crimes happening, is somebody getting a hold of the checkbook and just starting to write checks. So that's a red flag as well.
Okay, thank you. So before Sherry comes up, we're gonna have Chris come up, who is gonna lead us in some stretches, because we sit around a long time, and this will help the blood go to our head and stretch a little bit. And Chris, I forgot to add the slide for you, but I'm gonna turn this over to you.
I'm gonna grab a chair.
So did you catch everyone as they were coming in?
Remember, we're gonna grab the back of our chairs and we're gonna ground ourselves there so we don't have a fall. I'll wait till you all get up. And the ones that are standing in your chair, let's start with our breathing, okay? Remember, we're gonna ground ourselves with the breathing in through the nose out through the mouth. We're gonna do 2 more. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Smell the flowers, blow out the candles. Good, good, we're there. So as we hold on to our chairs, and I'm gonna probably try to do this, let's start with putting 1 foot forward and 1 foot back, and using one hand that's the opposite of the back. We use with the hand that's on the back side of your foot and bring it up, and let's do a big stretch in the air. Big stretch. Drop down your shoulders, don't use your shoulders. And let's do a breathe in and another breath out. Let's switch sides. 1 foot forward, the other foot back. The foot's back, bring up your arm. Oh, come on, let's make a noise. Ah, let's do it. Stretch, stretch, stretch. So you should be feeling that all down your legs, down through your lower back. And breathe out and bring your hands down. Let's do just a little spinal twist. This is something that I recommend you get up every single morning and do this after you've used the restroom. Just twist that. I know, I'm a senior now too. I know the drill. One of the other things I do, and I don't know if we're gonna do it here, but we're just gonna kind of, if you can, bring your head to the chair a little bit. And that's another thing I do on the counter of my bathroom. I do a stretch. So I stretch my back out after I've been sleeping all night. And don't forget those breathing. So when you come up, take a breath out. Again. Let's do that one more time. But ground yourself so you're not dizzy. You might get dizzy bringing that head down. Stretch the back of those calves. Take a breath in, and as you come up, breathe out. Maybe bring one hand up, or if you can bring both hands up, that's great. And take a breath. And then when we drop our hands, let's make a big ah. There you go.
Thanks, Chris. You want to talk down there? Yeah, you can do that. Okay, Sherry. Okay, what type of communities are available and how do you know what type is the right fit?
You happened to be on there. Hi, I'm sorry, what?
What type of communities are available and how do you know what type is the right fit?
Yeah, so again, I say this till I'm blue in the face, but it needs to be said. The choice is not staying home or going to a nursing home. It just isn't. When my grandparents were around, that was the choice, but it's not the choice now. They are building more senior living communities than you can imagine. I was in the hotel industry for many years, as I mentioned, and the Real Estate Investment Trust couldn't put hotels up fast enough 20, 30 years ago. Now, they're still building hotels, but they can't put senior living communities up fast enough. Does anybody know why? Right, 10,000 people a day are turning 65. Oh, and the average age of life is not 65, 70, or 75 anymore. It's 78, 82 for women. So, and it's just gonna increase from there. So that's why they're building more and more senior living communities. And the best part is they're getting much, much better than they used to be. So, let's see, I think next slide, Steve, if you don't mind. So, I apologize, I don't have any pretty pictures for this one, but I wanted to fit everything in there. So you really do have these 6 choices. Again, aside from living in your home, by yourself sometimes. Here's the thing too, let me just get this out of the way. So, you know, I understand wanting to stay in your home. You've been there for years and years and years, and I understand that. But if you're by yourself, and let's say your neighbors don't come around anymore, and your kids don't live nearby, I will tell you, isolation and being by yourself is one of the biggest risk factors for cognitive decline. It just is, which is another reason they're building these super cool senior living communities. So what are they? 55 plus, these are just your, High Country, right? That High Country,
Development.
Ocean,
Ocean Hill.
yeah, Ocean Hills Country Club, Oceana, Rancho Carlsbad, there's a lot of them. Those are where you own your own place, and there's not really any inclusions. There's some social ed activities maybe, but that's about it. There aren't any inclusions. So that's the 55 plus. That's great if you just want to downsize and go from your big house to a smaller place with less maintenance. Life plan, CCRCs. I don't personally work with these, but these are your La Costa Glens, your Glen at Scripps Ranch, your Carlsbad by the Sea, Casa de las Campañas. Those are the ones that you give them about $1 million now, I think is what it is. You're kind of pre-buying care. Oh, and then you also pay $5,000 to $12,000 a month. So, you know what? Some people love those, and I have a whole thing about that. I can definitely explain that if you're interested in getting more information. I don't personally work with them, but I do know them well. Then these other 4: independent living, assisted living, memory care, and then your residential care homes. Those are the ones that I help you find. There are 420 in San Diego County alone. The independent living, those are not licensed communities considered RCFE, residential care facility for the elderly. I don't like that word name, but that's what they're called. Those are licensed by the states. The independent living communities are not, but they're all-inclusive living. They say it's kind of like a cruise ship on land, if you will. It's one bill a month, everything's included. Now, what they're doing though, for the most part, is they are blending the independent living and the assisted living together. So, for example, anybody heard of Santiana Senior Living? So I was on the marketing team, on the opening team. So we opened Santiana. Santiana in Carlsbad has a blended building. It's independent assisted living. The whole building's licensed for care, but you don't have to need care to move in. And so most of them are doing that now, but then you've got Ocean Hills, not Ocean Hills Country Club, but across the street, Ocean Hills Senior Living. They, 3 years ago, built a whole separate building that's independent living. So it is not licensed. Some people like that because it's a little more, okay, I'm just gonna say maybe you don't see as many walkers or wheelchairs or what have you, but that doesn't even mean people need care, because the care that these communities provide is in the privacy of your own apartment. But some people just want to be totally independent. They want everybody else around them to be totally independent and not need any care. So they're, by gosh, moving into an independent living. If they start to need help down the road, let's say 3, 4, however many years, or maybe, you know, we say in the industry, one fall changes it all. God forbid they fall, and maybe it takes, you know, a long time or they don't quite recover, then you have to move out of your apartment and independent living and into a separate building, same campus, and assisted living. So they're kind of plus and minuses about each, and that's why you really want to go on these tours and understand what the communities are all about. But the independent assisted living, their social model, it's all about social, it's about culinary. They are actually hiring chefs that are from hotels and resorts now to work in these communities. The chefs love it because the hours are a lot better, especially those late night banquets that they don't have to do anymore. Okay, and then memory care, that's usually either a separate building on the same campus of the assisted living or independent living, or it's a separate wing, or it's a separate floor. And that's because these are secure. Because a lot of folks who have dementia or need memory care support maybe have a tendency to wander, you know, go out and get lost, and they don't want that to happen. So that's the big difference there, but they usually are either separate building or separate wing. And then you have your, I don't like board and care, so I changed, well, I didn't change it, but we kind of try to call it now residential care homes. Those are the homes in your neighborhood that you don't even know are there, and they're single family homes, and they've been converted to house usually around 6 residents. And usually they're very homey. I mean, they're in a home and you've got fresh meals and everything's included. Usually though, if you go into a residential care home, it's because, excuse me, you need, you have a much higher level of care needed, whether physically or cognitively speaking. So that's what those are for. But they are wonderful and they're all inclusive and they're really, really great for some folks. So those are the choices.
So on residential care, if somebody has Alzheimer's, can they go to one of those type of homes?
Yes, and that was what I was saying. Some actually specialize in cognitive, residents with cognitive challenges, or i.e. dementia. So whether it's Alzheimer's or any other type of dementia, some homes, that's what their specialty is.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So how much do these,
Excellent.
oops, did you have one?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Can you just flow, yeah, all the way down? So, oh, yeah. So here's what I was, just real quickly, again, just to recap. Those are all-inclusive, hassle-free lifestyles. So here's the beautiful thing about it is, again, you have your home, but you've got your property taxes, you've got your maintenance, you've got, to cook, gosh forbid, you gotta clean. This is all, just go ahead and all the way down, Steve, if you don't mind. All of this is included, and it's one monthly bill. It is really cool. It's just an easy lifestyle. And I know a lot of folks who will move into these independent and couples, maybe one of the spouses might need a little help. Again, it's in the privacy of your apartment, and your apartment's your private oasis. And it can be tiny, it can be big, but nobody needs to know if you're assisted living or need help, but you get the benefit of having all of these. And everybody always wants to know the monthly cost. I can find a client, a studio, at maybe not the fanciest community for roughly $3,000 a month, and that includes, everything. Then there are some that a one bedroom at one of the newer places might be $6,000 a month. If you want a 2-bedroom with a den, that's going to be about $12,000 a month. So it really just depends on what you want. And then just keep in mind, there should be one more, Steve, care. So that then you're going to just add care costs on top of that. I'm sorry. What was your?
How much do these places cost?
Well, there you go. Yeah. So yeah, not that this is helpful, but $3,000 to $12,000. So, but again, that's there's a lot that goes into that. There's a lot of ways to narrow that down. Obviously, based on location, where do you want to live, budget, of course. Do you have any care needs? How big do you want your space to be? If you're going from a 3,000 square foot house, here's the other thing. If you're going from a 3,000 square foot house, how much of that house are you really living in though? Just kind of take that into consideration. So maybe it's half. Maybe you live in 1,500 square feet. So, then we're going to take that in consideration. If you want a 2-bedroom with a balcony facing, that you see the sunset, you might want to start now because you got to put yourself on a wait list. And almost every single community out there, they have a wait list. You give them a deposit, it's usually not that much and it's fully refundable. The good thing is that you get on their list and they'll call you and they'll say, oh my gosh, that perfect apartment's come up. You can always say no, but if you're ready, you can move in.
Okay. What should someone look for when touring a community, and what are the red flags?
Yeah, first of all, you definitely want to tour the community, and I do have handouts at my table and it's a little checklist that you can use. But with my clients, I always like to go with them because inevitably I'm going to have questions that they don't have or that are not on that checklist. But I would say too, if it's a community that you really think you might be interested in, go a couple of different times. First, they're going to make you go with the sales or the marketing person, and they have their little, we call it a tour path. I was one of those people, and don't deviate from my tour path because I got it down, and it's so funny how it really parallels the hotel industry too, because when we had clients come over, we'd say, okay, we're going to meet the chef at this point, and we're going to meet the lifestyle director at this point. Same thing with communities. That chef is going to be in position. You're going to meet the ambassadors because the residents always have an ambassador club, and that's who's going to just tell you how wonderful it is to live there. So how many people have been on a tour of communities and know what I'm talking about? Okay, and that's good. Go do that. Do that because that'll give you a really great overall picture of the community. But but go back again. Now, if you've seen 10, you probably can narrow it down to maybe 3, maybe the top 3. Go back again, maybe unannounced. Or once you get on their list, you're probably gonna start getting invitations to some of their events. Check out the events. See what those are like. See what the food's like. You always wanna have a meal as well. But if you walk into a community, and I've done this with clients, first of all, how does it smell? Is it fresh? Are people milling about? Is someone greeting you? Does it look clean? Just really kind of basic things as you first walk in. First impressions they're very important. They are important. So what is that first impression? If it's for your parent that you're looking for, an elderly neighbor, that you're looking for, do you see that person there? Do you go and talk to some of the residents? And, do you feel like there would be someone for either you, if it's for you, or a loved one to hang out with? Meet with the executive director. And if that executive director, especially if you're having a meal and they don't come, I get so mad if they don't come by the table and introduce themselves and welcome, that to me says a lot about the community.
So first, before I ask you the next question, one of the things that I like about Sherry, how many of you were going around on the tours when I used to have the community come? So it was like a really good way. I wanted people to be able to explore communities. And there's like organizations called The Place for Mom, and all they do is give you a list. And when I met Sherry, I was impressed because she actually sits down and talks to people and takes people around to explore the options. So the next question ties into that. So what is the process, and when is the best time to start exploring your options?
No, well, thank you for that too. And by the way, my mother's situation, and I had to move her twice across the country. The reason I started my business is because I reached out to A Place for Mom. This all started 12 years ago because I was in the hotel industry and I didn't know better. And by the way, they're a lead aggregator. They just get your information, they blast it out. All of a sudden, I'm getting inundated with phone calls and emails. It's like, oh my, and one day I think I had 30, which was the last thing I needed because I'm trying to get my mother from Atlanta to Phoenix at the time. And then I get a list of 12. I think I got a list from them of 12 places with a phone number. That was their guidance. That was fun. Half of them we couldn't afford. The other half weren't in the geographical area. They've never been in the communities. But I didn't know that anybody did what I did. Like, I didn't know my service existed and that it was free. So I would say, let's see, here we go. And Steve, if you just want to drop everything in. Yeah, don't wait until a crisis occurs. Just don't wait, because your options are going to be so limited. And you don't want to just take what's available at that time. You want to be prepared. So even if you're not thinking about moving for 5 years, go ahead and just see what's out there. There are two coming online next year, beautiful new communities. Just kind of get out there and see what the options are ahead of time. If it's for your parent or an older loved one, especially, don't wait, because if you're in the hospital or they're in the hospital, let's say that they go to skilled nursing and they can't go home, and you're like, oh my gosh, okay, you have a week to find something? So just go ahead and prepare and see what's out there, because you don't want to have to deal with any of these things, rush decisions. And by the way, if family members are involved, emotions are high. I'll just I'll leave it at that, but it gets very, very, very stressful very soon. So before a crisis occurs.
So thank you.
Yeah.
And that happened for my mom, was that, she had wanted to, she wanted to age in place till she lived to be 100, but she was in skilled nursing. And we got a call that said she can't go back home. She needs to be in some kind of help, assisted living, because all bedrooms were upstairs and she couldn't do it. And so we were panicked trying to find something. And I wish she would have let me take her around to see other places beforehand, so we would have an idea of what she wanted. So that's why it's good for people to talk to you about it.
I think I met you shortly after that, because you did have to they found a place that wasn't a great fit, and then
Do you have more?
Was this, sorry, just how to pay for senior living. And I know that my, by the way, all these partners, I was gonna say I use them all. I refer to them all because obviously, you know, my goal is to find the right fit once you've made that decision to move out of your house. But obviously these amazing people help you stay in your home as safely as possible. But you pay for it kind of like you do their services. So if you just wanna drop everything in, except that if you're moving and you have equity in your house, that's how most people are gonna pay for senior living. So unlike those buy-ins where it's like $800,000 or $1 million to get into, these are usually whatever 1 month's rent is. So if it's $4,000, $5,000 a month, that's what it's just a one-time fee. And then the monthly fee that's all inclusive. But yeah, most of the clients I work with sell their home or, you know, or then they have income from renting it out if they want to keep it, or all of these other options that I know Lauren and Karen discussed as well. But there are a lot of choices out there and they're getting better and more than, you know, every single year. So just know that and know that they are really built on that social model, because nothing like being around other people. You can have your privacy, but the more you're around other people and then socialize, the sharper you're gonna stay. I do a whole workshop on how not to lose your mind. Ask me about it. Thank you.
Okay, Harriet. So Harriet, what's the difference between downsizing and decluttering? And when should someone start decluttering if they're going to downsize on the horizon?
So decluttering is just getting rid of the stuff in your house, and my goodness, we all have it, don't we? Someone in the audience today said she has a new word for me. It's called procrasticlutter. Thank you so much. And it's perfect, because if you're like me, you walk into a room and you see all your stuff and you just go, I don't know what I'm gonna do with this, and you turn around and walk out. I mean, that's what happens to a lot of us. So decluttering is just going through what you have, deciding what you really want to keep. It's whether you're moving or not, it doesn't matter. It feels so good to declutter, and the sooner you do that, the better, because it just takes a weight off of you. And then downsizing is you are going to move. Whether it's into a senior community, whether it's in a smaller home or whatever, but downsizing is you're gonna go ahead and move. So decluttering early before you downsize makes your move so much easier as well. It's less overwhelming, and it just makes for a calmer situation to live in, so.
Decluttering is an interesting thing, because I thought I was pretty good at decluttering and not having a lot of stuff. And now that we're actually downsizing, it's amazing how long it takes. So it's like start now and start going through like a drawer at a time and get rid of stuff that you haven't used. You know, it's like you can donate it. You know, they have things like eBay and things like that. I'm just donating. It's just easier. But start now, whether you're going to age in place or not, because if you're gonna age in place, who's gonna take care of that when you pass? You're gonna leave that to other people to go through, and they're gonna go, what did she do with all this stuff? So help the people that you love by starting now. Okay, Carrie. Why would someone want to connect with a realtor as soon as they start considering downsizing?
Well, we do this day in and day out. We help people move. And so we can see the big picture possibly better than you can. And we can explain your options to you. There's two ways of downsizing. You can either find a new home and then sell the current house, or you could sell your current home and then find a place to live. So there's both options. And each one has pros and cons, and it depends on your finances, your goals, possibly your stress tolerance, because let's face it, it's stressful. no matter what. We recently, so Christy and I work together a lot, and we recently helped a woman who was referred to us. She lived up in Danville in Northern California. And she wanted to move down to be closer to her daughter and her daughter's family. They live in Penasquitos. And she wanted to move into a senior community. So Christy talked to her first, and we set her up on an online search of homes that fit the criteria of what she was looking for. So she wanted at least 2 bedrooms, she wanted it to be 1,500 square feet, she wanted it to be in a senior community, because she was moving down here not knowing anyone but her daughter's family. And she wanted to be able to make friends, maybe join clubs, you know, find people with common interests. So we set her up, and she made plans to come down. We took her to 2 different senior communities. One was in Oceanside and the other was in Rancho Bernardo. She decided Rancho Bernardo fit her better, it was closer to her daughter. And so then she went back up, we showed her some homes. She went back home, and we continued sending her places that were on the market down here. And she finally selected one that she liked. We put an offer in on it. Well, it was accepted. In the meantime, she had been preparing her home to sell. She had been decluttering. She was downsizing. It was a much smaller place to live in. And so she was doing it all at the same time. And now she's moved down here. She hasn't moved into her place yet because she's having new flooring put in and getting paint done, and you know, that kind of thing. But it all worked out for her as far as she sort of did it at the same time, where she found the house she wanted and then put her house on the market. So that all worked out, yeah.
Yeah, so it's really nice that people do things online because they can actually look at it. But some people don't have a computer, and there have been times where we actually just go and sit down in front of them and take them around to some of the different communities to help them explore and know what's out there. So, well, if you could do it online, it's nice because they get to see all the pictures beforehand. So what are some of the key steps when someone decides to downsize?
So there's an elephant slide, Steve, yeah, there you go. And you all have the handout in front of you, yeah. So the first thing you're gonna start with is the green portion of it. So you have decided to downsize, you've made that decision. And the second one would be the part that's yellow on there, and that's, you're gonna liquidate. You're going to liquidate and declutter. And this is where you have all this stuff and you don't know what you're gonna do with it, right? We can have an estate sale, you can donate it like Christy said, you can trash, you can give it to your family, and I'm telling you now, as we've talked about over the last months, the kids don't want your stuff. They don't want our stuff. So, you know, they might want some of your jewelry or maybe a few things that mean a lot to them, but in general, no, they don't want it. So you're gonna have to think about what you're gonna do all of this. And then the next, I'm kind of mixing the red and the orange in together because you do it sort of all at the same time. You decide what you're going to move, what you're gonna take with you. So you have to start packing, you think about hiring movers. At the same time, it's always good to talk to a real estate agent and let them help you. And we also have a lot of resources that we can offer up. And we can help you prepare your home for sale and negotiate the terms and sell the house. So and then after your house is sold, you go back to the red part, which is you're going to move, unpack, get rid of all of that. You have to change your mailing address with the DMV if you're still driving, or the post office, credit card places, all of that. So anyway, there is a lot to do, but there are people to help you do it. And after that, the joy of it is, the blue part of the elephant is you can, adjust to your new surroundings. And you can, depending on where you move, you can find new interests, join clubs, meet new people, make new friends.
And that was the next one.
Yeah, that's all right. So Harriet, budgeting's a big part of downsizing. How does one begin to budget for it?
Well, the first thing we can do for you is to create it's a CMA, which is a comparative market analysis. And what that is we look at the homes that you're going to be, your home, and we compare it to homes in your neighborhood that are similar, about the same size, about the same number of bedrooms and baths, and also square footage. And we look at the condition of your home. Maybe it's completely updated and you've kept on, you've redone your kitchen and your bathrooms, you've painted, it's really, or it could be that you've lived in it very comfortably the way it is. Doesn't matter. What we do is we do a comp on it, and we can tell you about what the price is gonna be that you're gonna be able to sell it for. And we also prepare a net sheet. So we come up with how much you're gonna sell it for, and then what it's gonna cost you to sell the house. And that's your escrow and title and commission and that type of thing, HOA charges. So we come up with a net sheet. So you come up with the amount of money that you're gonna have to spend, either moving into a community or moving into a smaller house. So that's how we can get started with it. And we help you see what's realistic and affordable for you to make your next step.
So why does selling and downsizing feel so much harder than buying a family home years ago?
So years ago, you moved into a big house, right? Maybe you were first married, you lived in a little apartment, and all of a sudden you buy your first house, and it's big, and you have lots of room, and you have plenty of room to buy things and put things in, and you're not thinking about downsizing, you're thinking about upsizing. But now you're thinking about downsizing, and you're not just moving out of this house, you're sorting through your memories. You're sorting through your things, through your stuff, and deciding what you can take and what you can't take. I'm helping a woman now sell her house in Claremont, and she's a collector. And nice collectors, but she has like 5 sets of Christmas china, and she's going to be moving into a 1-bedroom place in a senior community. So she has to decide, which set do I want to take with me, right? And she also has all these collectibles, and they're great collectibles, but she's not going to have room for them. So it's very overwhelming for her. I've gone over there and helped her as much as I can. She's trying to decide what to take. And then we're offering help. There's move managers that you can hire. They're fabulous. They come in, they're not emotional. They're not emotionally tied to your stuff, right? They just help you see the overall picture of what to take and maybe what to leave. And then we can help you with getting help as far as processing that all, and giving you referrals and giving you ideas. So it is hard, there's no doubt about it. We remodeled our house a few years ago, and I had to move completely out. And after 20-some years, it was awful. It was awful, but we managed and had help from our friends and whatnot. So it's very possible to do. And we're here to help you, yeah.
Thanks, Harriet. So we're gonna move on to question and answers now. Will you guys grab the mics? And I have a question, did all of you get a raffle ticket? If not, raise your hand, because we'll have Nicole bring you one. After the, we'll do about 5 minutes of Q&As, and then I'll do the raffle. Is there anyone that didn't have a raffle ticket? There's a couple over here, Nicole. And then why don't you, if you need a raffle ticket, stand up, because I'm gonna have people raise their hand if, you have a question, and if you have a question, please, say who you have the question for. So does anybody have a question? No questions? We were really good at this?
Have
Oh,
one over
we have
here.
some questions here, okay. Chris is coming up to you. Oh, okay.
This is a question for Sherry. Many of us have probably read about situations where a retirement community looked very nice, but suddenly the financials went south and people had to move out because it got bought out because they never had enough reserves financially to continue on with operation. So does the state of California or other government institutions have guidance to what to look at on a financial spreadsheet before you move in?
That is a wonderful question. Thank you for bringing that up. That only happens with the CCRCs or the life plan communities like La Costa Glen. Not that La Costa Glen is in trouble of doing that, but it's because everybody's giving them a huge chunk of money they're investing and you don't know what they're investing it in. So that's really applicable just to those life plan communities. The state of California, I would say, because I don't work with those, I would say the state of California, which I would imagine has some more better safeguards than maybe some other states, but I'm not quite sure. But that is another reason I'm a proponent of month to month, because all the other 98% of the communities that are out there are month to month. You're not giving them a big chunk. So quite frankly, you might be enjoying it, but I guarantee you if there's financial issues, it's not probably a great place to live anymore because they're not putting money back into the communities. But with month to month, you're not gonna be out your life savings. You're maybe 1 month, if that. So those are not the ones that are experiencing what you're talking about. And it is heartbreaking because I read about people losing, you know, everything. They've lost everything, and I don't know. You know, it's very heartbreaking, but to me, that's another reason to look at these month to month, that again, 98% of your options are gonna be month to month.
Thank you, Sherry. There's a question up here. Steve, behind you, there's someone too.
Oh, yes, this is for Harriet. Well, what are the pros and cons of renting out my house to and moving somewhere else? And also furnished or unfurnished. Is it worth it?
Do you wanna take that? Go ahead. So, when my mother went into a care facility, not facility, community, sorry, forget facility,
Not the F
sorry,
word.
I know, not the F word. We rented out her place, and it actually, for my family, it worked out great. The rent that we took in paid for the mortgage and all the other expenses. And then, so she could afford to stay in a place. It didn't cost my brother and sister and I anything to do that. So it actually worked out great for us. And then after she passed, then we sold the house. So it made it easy that we didn't have to come up with any money to help her live in a nice place.
Did you rent it furnished or unfurnished?
We rented it unfurnished, yeah. I mean, you could do either way, but I think most of the time, people are gonna want to rent it unfurnished. They're gonna want their own place. Now, if you wanted to do like an Airbnb or something like that with it, then you could rent it furnished, but I don't necessarily, that's a lot more work to me. So I'm a proponent for renting it out. As they were talking just now, I was thinking, okay, I don't have long-term insurance. Maybe my kids would rent my house out because I know they don't wanna, they're gonna fight over my house is the problem, but anyway.
Steve, will you give the mic to Rick? He has something to add.
Harriet and I don't agree on a lot of things.
Okay.
And this is
That's a
one,
fact.
this is one that drives me crazy. Do not think about renting out your house until you spend some time on the internet and find out exactly what rights those tenants have. When you see that, and when you understand what it takes to evict a tenant, you're gonna find out that to rent that house out is gonna cost you a lot of your equity. And that's pretty much, you may find a good tenant that'll take care of everything and everything's fine. I'm telling you, that's a crapshoot. Because Chrissy and I have rented houses ourselves, and you won't believe the amount of cost that you run into. I mean, it's nice to say, well, see, I still have my house over here and I'm renting it out. And I'm telling you, first of all, do not do it yourself. Hire a property manager. Save some, because at least they understand what the laws are. And if you don't understand what the laws are and you rent that house out, you might as well just start writing them checks from your equity. So I mean, seriously, sell the house.
So Rick, just recently you told me about, in Los Angeles, that they were now requiring to put heating and air. Talk quick though, because you only have 30
Okay, real quick.
seconds.
Yeah, listen, the laws in California are for the tenant. They are not for the landlord, they are not for the property owner. Recently in Los Angeles proper, they now have regulations that you can't lease a property if it isn't climate controlled. In other words, if that property gets to be over 82 degrees Fahrenheit, you're in violation of these new state laws. This is a city law in Los Angeles, right? But think about this from the other side. Everybody hates the laws in California. This is the only one they came up with that's gonna actually start protecting the homeowner. Because if I'm 82 and I'm renting a house and the temperature gets up really high and I die because of heat prostration, there's going to be a line of attorneys there that's going to use my death as a reason to take your equity.
Okay, I'm cutting you off now because we have 2 minutes. And so if you have further questions, I'm going to invite you to go see the panel. I'm going to have you go to your tables, and Chris is going to come and help me distribute the prizes. So
What am I doing?
you're going to take these, so you guys can go up to your table. So that you're there, but, okay, 'cause I like to end right on time because people have plans. So. All right, so I'm gonna do a drawing, and Chris is gonna grab one of these books. And, okay, so the first, grab your tickets, 446104. 104, okay, over there, Chris. All right. So the next one, here, it can help, yeah. The last 6 digits, 068. 068. Up, over here in the back. There he is. Okay. Next one is 094. 094. Going, one more time. 094. All right. 092. Over here. Okay, so remember, if you don't like the book, pass it on to someone else. Don't hold it, keep it. 085. 085. No? Oh.
Gotcha. Sorry.
070. Oh. Okay, I have one more left. 110. 110. Gina. Okay, so Steve, will you just put on the slide for the last seminars? So I have 30 seconds left. I just wanted to make sure everybody knows that we're not going to be here in December. Next month is about strokes. I have someone from Scripps that's the head of the stroke program director, and somebody that's recovered from a stroke. So I hope to see you guys next time. And please, if you weren't able to ask your question, you have one, the panel will stay here. We just have to be out of the room by noon. So thank you for coming.
This way or that way?
Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay, you guys, I forgot to tell you, make sure to leave this way that you came in because they have the cafe out here. Thank you.
Okay, because, yeah, I could, okay. Well, I was afraid that if it screeches when you get close. That's what I have,